Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5 finale, The End. So this is a pretty crazy episode. This was an insane season. This is one of the things where I was like, just going through this, I had to fight myself to just not review every episode. I was like, I'm already trying to like cut it down and then just end it. And it was just like, man, this whole season I have loved. This has probably been my favorite season, honestly, because it was just, they're in the future that's so insane, and then it's the mystery of it all. And then it all comes down to like they make it back in time, so how do we stop the loop? And then stuff keeps happening, and Yo-Yo loses her arms, and then they're just continuing forward. And it's like, I don't know what they're gonna do here. Like, of course they have to change it because otherwise they are trapped in a loop, and then there's just nothing. Period. So I'm like, they just have to. That's pretty much all there is to do. They have to stop the loop. But how are they gonna do it? What is really gonna happen in the end? And we find out. I wasn't expecting the main villain by the end of the season to actually be Talbot, which was just insane. Like, he ends up saving them when they get attacked by the aliens, and then it's like, okay, so he saved them, and now he has all the gravitonium like inside of his body, and then it makes him insane, and so then he becomes the supervillain. He's like, all right, Coulson, let's shoot on up to space. Let's see this council or whatever. We get to meet Cassius' father. And it's like, okay, so, we get to see how that plays out. And then he's going crazier and crazier. And it's like, the S.H.I.E.L.D. team shows up. It's like, you were trying to trick me. It's like, we came from backup. Like, we thought you guys might be in danger. So we came up to the alien ship to help rescue you. He's like, nope, you're lying. And then he becomes the main villain. And I was like, this is insane. Like, it was just crazy. It was like the last 4 or 5 episodes. It was like, I just did not see any of that stuff coming. He gets all the powers. He's going to be the destroyer of worlds, and it was just like, I did not see that one coming at all. So crazy way to go about the last couple episodes of the season. And then of course we have this one. They bring back like the centipede stuff, which I thought was kind of cool. They bring back like needing Daisy's mother's body, because I can't think of her actual name right now. And it was just like crazy. I was like, there's just a lot of stuff they did where I was like, that's surprising. I didn't see that coming. Didn't see that one. Just crazy. So love this episode through and through. And then it's just absolute madness, and they're trying to figure out, how do we stop Talbot? Do we convince him? Do we kill him? Can we kill him because he's so insanely powerful, and he's the destroyer of worlds now? We have to rescue our fortune teller as well as her mother. And they're just going through the process, like, what do we do to stop the loop? Do we let Coulson die? Do we not let Coulson die? You have Yo-Yo, which I thought was like a great scene where she's just like, I'm in this nightmare screaming and nobody's listening to me. I thought that was a great scene. Like, everyone was pretty much against her, and all she was trying to do was just be like, he's one dude. Like, I've literally been told by myself that he is one person. He's literally one person, and we need to just let him die in order to literally save the entire planet and just keep us all together. So I thought that was cool. They had their cool tie-in with Avengers Infinity War. We're talking about Thanos, and that was the deal that Hydra made, where it was like, oh yeah, we said we'd totally help protect the planet, but we couldn't. Thanos is tough, and we were just gonna let you guys get killed anyway. So I was like, oh, that's, there's simple little tie-in. They have, I think it was like 2 episodes ago where they talked about, or they showed it on TV, like, oh, you hear about the stuff happening in New York, and then they showed a little bit, and it's like, okay. And I'm not gonna lie, for maybe the second half of this episode, I was like, are they gonna do the thing? I guess I can't spoil it, even though it's weeks old, but I was like, are they gonna do the thing, and then that's how they defeat the villain, and that's how they change time, even though that wouldn't make sense because it still would have been happening. But I was like, maybe that'll happen. That would just be insane, but maybe that would happen, and that would have been a cool way to end it. And I feel like I still can't talk about it because it's been weeks, even though it's been weeks since the movie came out. But if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If they connected that, like at the very end of this season, that happened, that would have been cool. I don't know how in the world that would have worked, but that would have been really freaking sweet. I think the show would come back before the next Avengers movie came out, so that's probably why they couldn't do that. But that would have been a cool way to end this season, which also, super random before I get to the rest of the episode, I don't know if the next season is the last, but it's been renewed for like a half season, so it's only going to be 13 episodes. So I don't know if that 6 is going to be the last one, but that's what it's been renewed for. It's like a half season, so it's only going to be 13. So I don't know if that officially means the end, but short season, so they might officially just be like, yep, this is officially, this is it, it's dead and gone. Or it could just be that's where it's headed, and maybe they're not 100% sure because maybe the ratings have been whatever. But for next season, we're so far it's set for 13 and it's not set for the full like 22, 23 episodes. So just be wary of that. If you hear some news come out that it might be the last season, they've kind of already a little bit talked about it. So just be aware of that for next year, or I guess the end of this year. But definitely loved this episode. I like the way it was handled. I like the way that they changed things at the very end. It was like, oh, well, if Matt goes in there to save Robin's mom, they don't live. They aren't supposed to make it. So of course they end up changing the timeline there, and then they do the ultimate fake out for like, I don't know, it was like it felt like 5 minutes of slow motion, and it's like, in remembrance, and then they cut from it, and everybody's sad, and it was just crazy. Simmons is packing up stuff, and she puts the picture face down, and I was just like, holy crap! After all this, I was almost mad. I was like, after all this, they can't do that. They kill him at the end, and then which also would have got rid of Zeke. But it was nuts. I was like, this whole time, and they're going through, it's like, this isn't a funeral, it's, celebration. And it's like, okay, trying to keep it upbeat, a celebration of life, not a funeral of death. And they're going through the whole process, and then they talk about Fitz, like, yeah, he's gonna miss this and stuff. And I was like, that was like 5 minutes of us thinking that Fitz was dead, and I was so mad. I was like, they are dicks for that one. They're dicks for that. But I'm glad he's not dead. I was super, super confused why he was in space, because them changing the timeline should have meant that it didn't even make sense, because he technically, yeah, so he already went through that whole process. I was super confused. I was like, I don't understand why he was frozen at all. It made no sense to me whatsoever. So if someone can explain that to me, I might just have to look it up, because I rewound the scene to be like, why is he frozen? Like, it doesn't make sense that he'd be frozen, because he already did that. Like, he skipped over where they are to go into the future to save them and do all that, and he was with them. It's not like that was a different version of him. It was like, that was him, because he never went to the future. Like, he was always in the past, and he went to sleep already, and he went to the future and saved them, and then they came back. So I'm like, I don't know why he would be frozen. And they talk about him being disoriented and stuff like that, and I was like, and it was like they're talking about, the working on it thing, and that's what confused me so much. I'm like, I just don't understand what's happening here, because if they said he was like frozen because they need to figure out how to save him, or it took time for him to heal and they just had to freeze his body, that would have made sense. But that's not what they said. It was like he's working on it, and it's like, it's crazy that this, he's working on it, but somewhere in the future it's already been done, or he'll wake up and realize he's already solved it way in the future. I was just like, I'm so confused as to why he's on ice, or where he is, or anything. Like, it just confused me. Why even watching it twice? So if you can explain it, please do, because I was just like, I watched it twice, and I was still just like, I still don't get what he's working on or why he's frozen. So please explain that if you got it, because I was just like, I just don't understand, because they don't need to do. There's nothing to do. There was no loop to complete or anything like that, because he was never a part of it. So I was just super confused in that. But I was glad he lived. Sadly, Coulson did decide that he'd rather save the world than save himself. So he gives Daisy the centipede serum, so she uses that to get like crazy superpowers. Which, I'm not gonna lie, when she like hit Talbot and he just flew away and it was like some Team Rocket stuff, I was like, that was super sweet. And I didn't think he would die either. Admittedly, I was like, oh, he's dead. He can't breathe in space. He's not that cool. And he was just frozen and he died. And I was like, oh, she beat him. I thought it was gonna be like an epic sequence where it's him going up against the seismic waves and trying to fight back and stuff like that. It was like, nope. She like knocked him off with the extra boost and just went, and he just flew up in the air. And I loved the sound waves like hitting the sides of the buildings, and it was like a perfect angle that just looked cool. And then he was just dead, and I was like, wow. I just assumed he could like breathe in space. I don't know why, just did for some reason, because he was literally absorbing people. I was just like, he can breathe in space. It just, I don't know, it shocked me that he actually died from that. I was like, oh, that was oddly simple. They could have just sucked him out of a ship or whatever, but it was cool. I love the way they did that. Very simple, just poof, you're out of there. So looking forward to the next season. Sadly, Coulson will not be with him. They say he has like a couple of days, so he'll be gone, unless they decide to do he's in the first couple of episodes, because something gets so insane that he actually joins them for like a few days. They say like, a few days, maybe a week if they're lucky. So they could try to pull off something like that where it's like just a really crazy couple of days and he just lives. Plus the 13 episodes, they might actually try that. But It was definitely a good finale. Definitely loved it. Loved this whole season. Like I said, just some crazy stuff. I love the emotional elements. Yo-Yo was great. After they, came back to the present, everything with her I thought was great because she was like the one where it's like I gotta kill this girl to save the future, and then I screwed up because it wasn't actually her, and then we have to let him die in order to save the future. Like she just kept trying to save it, and everyone's like, we can find another way. It's like that's the whole point of time, is that you think you can find another way, but you can't. This is the only other way, like the sad way. So everything they did with Yo-Yo I thought was awesome. I was hoping there was some way that somebody would come in, like, surprise, I can heal you, and she'd get her arms back. Sadly that did not end up happening, but great finale. Definitely looking forward to the next season, and who knows where we're headed. It kind of ended just like, yep, they're going out in space now. They can, at least if they want to, and they're just off to do more missions. So not really much of a cliffhanger as far as what may come next. They might just kind of push up the whole, not the Kree, but whatever Cassius was. I keep thinking Kree, but it wasn't. Or no, yeah, it was the Kree. They won't do the Kree invasion. That's what it is. But they'll kind of do it. The Kree might show up in the next season. So we'll see how that plays out. The Skrull invasion is what they definitely won't do. Not in the series, at least. But they might never do that. I would love that, but they won't. That's too much. But the Kree might show up. We'll have a little Kree invasion there. That could totally tie in to Captain Marvel, for anyone who's going into like the next Avengers movie and stuff like that, and the Captain Marvel movie in general that is involved with the Kree. So they could definitely do that, and that could be their little tie-in since they've officially introduced them in this series. So we'll see what happens there, but would love to know what you guys thought about this season finale. We'd love to know your predictions for the next season, where you want to see it go for the next season, what they might do, tie-ins to Captain Marvel, Avengers, and just how all that stuff might play out. If you think it'll even tie in to Avengers, because I think technically speaking, this did end before the ending of Avengers. So, because I was trying to figure out the time, because they were talking about like how it was the same day, and I think in Avengers it was 2 days. I think that Avengers takes place over the course of 2 full days. So I was like, it's daytime there, which was daytime in New York in the movie, and by the end of the movie it's daytime somewhere else. And I was like, that means it would be nighttime, over here in the US. So I was like, this ended before the Avengers movie technically ended timeline wise. So I was like, they could pull it in if they decide to, but we'll see how that plays out. But I would love to know your predictions and just what you guys want to see going into the next season. And like I said, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this finale. So please comment below, let me know. And of course, thanks for watching.